Hey guys, happy Thursday or Friday or whatever day I release this video. Today it is actually Friday. That is when I'm recording this, and I mean, how many times can I say it? I'm excited. And I'm really excited for this chapter, and I've got to be honest, I wasn't really at first because it was just difficult to find something to really dig into and write about, but I was afraid that chapters 5 and 6 would just be too much information to put them together. But when I started writing the article this past week, I just really got into it, and I'm excited to talk to you guys about it. We're going to be discussing it later on in this video. For our newcomers, welcome to Muggles and Mocha, our Harry Potter book club, where we're diving really deep into the Harry Potter series, one chapter at a time. This book club is connected to my editing website, MadisonKdarby.com. You can find a lot of info about it on there, as well as my social media information. If you want to give me a follow, you could do that. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. And all of my articles for the books are on there as well. I write an article and make a video every week, and we'll go through the entire Harry Potter series together. So I'm also considering doing some reviews of the movies. I was actually watching a video by Movie Flame. You should definitely check out that YouTube channel if you're interested in like these kind of things, like movie breakdowns, book breakdowns, TV show breakdowns. He does a lot of good stuff like that. But I was watching a video about why the 6th Harry Potter movie is his least favorite in the series. And it was just really, really good. Like, I usually enjoy watching that movie on its own, but I really agreed with the points he made. You know, like with what it did with the book information, adding different scenes that were just totally unnecessary. I have some friends that are very passionate about that, and yeah, super true. And then making what could have been like a really dark, impactful movie more comedic, and how that was the wrong decision. I don't know, but I'm thinking of talking about some stuff like that. So just let me know. Are you interested in hearing about what I think about the movies, or let me know in the comments. And I promise I won't be super negative. Like, I'm not a huge fan of videos that just enjoy bashing different things. Like, that's just not, I don't enjoy watching those. So I would look at both the strengths and weaknesses of each movie, like we do here with the books. I don't often find weaknesses, so I'm a bit lacking in that part, but yeah, I would try to be balanced with the movies, is what I'm saying. We also drink coffee here, and I have brought back my Kingdom Hearts mug. It's this thing. It is a monster, but I love it, and I've started playing Kingdom Hearts 2 again, so in celebration, I love Kingdom Hearts. Something else I could talk about. You know what? Look, I've just been thinking a lot about the future of this channel, and what it could be. And while Muggles and Mocha will obviously continue to go on, I would love to talk about other stuff as well. I don't know, I've been thinking about that a lot lately, so I don't know. Let me know your ideas, and if that would be a good idea of like, do y'all like watching these videos? I hope so. I think I would still make them if no one watched them, but yeah, let me know. But today, we are heading back to Hogwarts, so let's get to it. We have Harry's last night with the Weasleys. So sad, because as we've talked about, he's just had such a happy time there. Some of the happiest times that he has in the book series, I think, are at the Burrow. And on this last night, they have a couple of Harry's favorite things. And one of the things he talks about is Treacle Pudding, which is apparently one of his favorite desserts. And I had forgotten this or did not know. But has anyone had it? Like, you guys know I love talking about food in this universe, so I'm gonna do it every time it comes up. That'll be a lot of things dedicated to food. But I had never really heard of treacle pudding and couldn't picture it, so I looked it up. And here is a picture of treacle tart, if you were wondering what it looks like. So it's not really what I expected, because in the United States, the word pudding means something different than in the UK when it comes to desserts. I'm still like struggling with differentiating what a pudding is in the UK. So if you're from there, if I've got any UK watchers, please explain, because here pudding is like, the consistency is very like thick, creamy, but then puddings in England almost seem like small cakes, sometimes with like fillings or syrups. Like here, I don't know. I love food and I would love to know more. We get a scene of the crew leaving for the train station, which mirrors every single time I left for college. Then the Chamber of Secrets almost isn't opened because Jenny almost leaves her diary at home. So like, we were this close, guys. But then we get the big conflict of this chapter, which is, not gonna rant, I just felt like picking this up for effect, but Harry and Ron are unable to get through platform 9 3/4, which is a huge deal to them. The boys get very panicked very quickly, and I feel like it's easy for us to sit back and judge them, for lack of a better word, mock them, scoff, just be exasperated by the decisions that they make in this chapter. Like when I was first reading this, I was nodding along with Professor McGonagall when she talks about them sending Hedwig, because every single time I'm like, why did you not do this? Like, I feel like it's the best course of action, but as has been with a couple of different topics, I love diving into the chapters this way because I've looked at a couple of things so far and reanalyzed my opinion on them. Some of them being, I don't want to give away what I think about Snape, but I'm a little tiny bit more open-minded about the journey that Snape goes through. All right, the jury's still out on that, and I still just despise him a lot of the time. But anyway, Snape. Dobby, this may surprise you because I defended him super hardcore, but when I was first reading that, I was like, gosh, I forgot how annoying Dobby was, and I felt terrible saying that. But remember, like I said, we're working off of movie Dobby perspective here because I haven't read the books in super long. So, Dobby, other thing reanalyzed. This scene, third thing reanalyzed, because I just really dug deep into Harry and Ron's decision-making process here and what drives them to think the way that they do. Because honestly, I know I don't really have to say this, but people are complex and there's a lot of things that go into our decision-making processes, even if we look back and view those decisions as a mistake. You know, like when I look on things I would view as mistakes in my life, I don't consider myself stupid or dumb for making those decisions because, you know, like there was thought, they may be rash. You know, I may make decisions based off of emotions or fear or just, you know, a lot of things at the time. So I wanted to give Harry and Ron that sort of grace as well. So it's not that I agree with their decision at all. I've already said that I don't. I think they definitely should have sent Hedwig, or at least waited to see, like 5 minutes to see if the Weasleys would come back. But it was super interesting to dig into their mindset to further understand their actions because, like, they panic, they take a flying car, they're spotted by Muggles, crash into a tree, almost crash into Hogwarts. That would have been so bad. But, you know, it's just a bad moment. But it was cool, like, to think about Harry's fear and desperation specifically, and the things that just, I think, drive him overall as a person. So if you're interested in that, you can check out the article, which I have linked in the description box below. I really did have a good time writing it. So through a quick conversation, Harry and Ron decide to fly the car to Hogwarts. And you know, overall doesn't really go well. Even the journey is just shaky at best, but it would be really nice to fly above the clouds, I admit. Their journey ends with a terrible crash. Like I said, they almost run into straight up the Hogwarts wall, but they crash into the Whomping Willow. And this is an introduction to a plant that will be important in the series later on. And honestly, I had forgotten a little bit about its origins. Like, I knew, of course, that Lupin and the Marauders used the Whomping Willow and its passageway to get into the Shrieking Shack during Lupin's transformation every month. But I had forgotten that, like, that was the main reason that that tree was planted in the first place. Like, super important. The Whomping Willow also destroys the Nimbus 2000. Rest in peace. Which is one of the most heartbreaking scenes that is underplayed in the movies. The Whomping Willow also plays a part in where the trio goes when they witness Snape's death in the Shrieking Shack. So, important tree, which at this moment is currently pummeling them. I have to say, I always did like this scene in the second movie. I think they did a really good job with it. It is super action-packed. You get a bit more character and personality from Ron, even though I think it might be a little bit different from the way he acts in the books. It's funny, and I just think that Rupert Grint did a really good job with Ron. This scene ends with the Fort Anglia simply being done with life. And it has just had it and runs off into the Forbidden Forest, and we'll come back later. Their adventure obviously doesn't turn out as planned, and Snape catches them talking about how they hope he has either been fired or has left because he didn't get the Defense Against the Dark Arts position again. And he just walks up on them talking about it. This might be my favorite scene that we've read so far, and somehow they only get a single detention from this. I mean, and also, like, their parents get notified, which for Ron is bad. For Harry, it's like, whatever. Tell them whatever you want. But once again, I've just got to say, what is the metric for these punishments? This was bad. This might be like one of the worst things they do in the book series when it comes to like the implications it has on the magical community. Forget Hogwarts, the magical world as a whole. Like, people saw a flying car going through the air, and it's bad. And maybe it's just because, like Harry says, they didn't actually do anything at Hogwarts. Like, school hadn't started, but gosh, I just think that they really got lucky here. And it makes me question times when Harry gets like a week's worth of detention. Like later in the books, that's things that happen, and I don't understand, but I'm happy that they got off. This scene is also kind of interesting to think about from the perspective of another character, which is Dumbledore. I spent a lot of time just kind of considering what would Dumbledore be thinking here when he hears that Platform 9 3/4 has stopped 2 students from coming to school, and not just any student, okay? Like, as much as Harry wants to be a normal kid and like the teachers treat him normally, he is not, especially after what happened last year with the Sorcerer's Stone. Like, Dumbledore's mind just has to be, you know, kind of spinning with this, like, what is going on here? Has Platform 9 3/4 ever been blocked before? I feel like this would take a lot of powerful magic, in which we see that house elves really do have a lot of powerful abilities. That's something we might talk about later, because I find that very interesting, especially when it comes to how their species functions in the magical community. Then we'll have one more food reference, because why not? Dumbledore mentions wanting to try a custard tart at the feast, and I just gotta tell you guys, custard tart is delicious, and it might be one of my favorite desserts, honestly. Like, oh my gosh, I love it. The real punishment for Harry and Ron, in my opinion, is that they didn't get to go to the beginning of the year feast. It's like one of the best times of the year. When's the next feast they get? Like Halloween? I'm not a big like Halloween food person. I don't feel like it'd be as good, but anyway, I guess that's a punishment in itself, that they had to sit in this dark office and eat sandwiches off, I don't know. But again, they're 12-year-old boys, so maybe that was fine. This chapter does end on a happy note, as all of Gryffindor, besides Percy and Hermione, who I do think are upset with good reason. I'm a goody two-shoes, guys, like. But the rest of Gryffindor congratulates and praises Ron and Harry, and it brings us to the last paragraph of the book, as they are safe in Hogwarts, safe away from the Whomping Willow and from falling out of the sky in a car. Yeah, they're back where they belong. Ron grinned guiltily at Harry. I know I shouldn't have enjoyed that or anything, but The dormitory door flew open and in came the other second-year Gryffindor boys, Seamus Finnegan, Dean Thomas, and Neville Longbottom. "Unbelievable," beamed Seamus. "Cool," said Dean. "Amazing," said Neville, awestruck. Harry couldn't help it. He grinned too. So, do get a happy ending, but it brings us to this. Chapter 6, Gilderoy Lockhart. Like, next week, we're getting into something that I've really been looking forward to, which is Chapter 6, named after Gilderoy Lockhart. And I cannot wait to rake him over the coals and talk about why he's at Hogwarts. That's what it comes down to. Why is he at Hogwarts? Like, just mentally prepare yourself, because I feel very strongly about this. And you know, it's not usually in my character to just like go after people. It's not my personality, but hey, these people aren't real. So I guess I can do that. And on a happier note, we are at Hogwarts. Ladies and gentlemen, I did miss the Hogwarts Express because I do love the train and the interactions that we see happen there when Harry's on his way to Hogwarts every year. But this was fun too, and I think did show a lot about Harry and Ron's friendships, their personalities, and you know, like they're gonna be growing into their own people throughout this book. You know, in the first book, I view Harry a lot as a kid because he is. But as a kid, like, you're still developing who you are and who you want to be. And I'm just excited because I feel like, you know, especially getting into books 3, 4, and 5, I really enjoy the transitions that we see Harry go through as he grows up. So yeah, without a doubt, like character development and world building and all of that stuff is just my favorite ever. I spend a lot of my time dwelling on other universes and characters and stories and the worlds behind them. That's just what I like to do. So speaking of which, we're gonna step away from the Harry Potter universe for a brief second. I have been low-key, maybe high-key, obsessed with Avatar: The Last Airbender that has come out on Netflix, or you know, has been put on Netflix. It's an older show, and if you haven't seen it, do yourself a favor and just watch that. Because if you like Harry Potter, which if you've made it to the end of this video, I'm guessing you do, I'm hoping you do, then you would also like that show, I think, because I see a lot of similarities between the two. Not at first glance, because obviously like the storylines are a bit different, the worlds are vastly different, but a lot of the underlying themes and a lot of the reasons I like Harry Potter when it comes to what the characters are trying to accomplish, and the character development you see there as they come into their own and have to overcome smaller situations while focusing on like a broader narrative. I have a niche, or niche. What do y'all say? Is niche just incorrect? Anyway, I definitely have a niche when it comes to younger characters having to overcome danger and like huge responsibilities while also having to navigate their social lives and their own feelings about who they are. And Avatar is one of those things. And you know, this kind of brings me to something else, and I mentioned it earlier in the video. I've been thinking a lot about the future of this channel, and I don't know, I'm just bouncing around a lot of ideas in my head because, like I said, Muggles and Mocha is not in danger. This is going to be something that I'm going to continue to do. But I love talking about stories like this and dwelling on the deeper aspects of those things. So if there's like another thing you wanted me to talk about, let me know, because honestly, like Avatar, for instance, I could see myself talking about that show a lot, and that could be a playlist that I could make, or just whatever I grab onto and am obsessed with at the time. different stories, and it can come into writing advice. I actually do write articles for my website that I mentioned earlier about different writing techniques and styles and how to enhance your characters depending on the genre you're writing about, and that's videos I could make too. So guys, like, we're just in a time of growth. There's just so much out there to dive into and investigate and learn. So yeah, I might talk about more stuff on this YouTube channel. We'll see what the future holds. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, if you would be on board with that, or if you like just talking about stories in general, let me know. This YouTube channel might become a bit broader than it is now. Who knows? But anyway, back to Harry Potter. I will see you next week to talk about chapter 6. So if you enjoyed this video, please feel free to like it and subscribe to my YouTube channel. You can find out when I'm coming out with more videos, as long as you turn on your notifications. And also feel free to share this with other Harry Potter nerds in your life. You know, with the series being over for a while, I feel like it kind of goes through dips and then like it gets really popular again. This might be another one of those times where you can start talking about Harry Potter with your friends again and just obsessing over how awesome it is. This has been fun. As always, please reach out if there's a certain topic you want me to write about or talk about in these videos as the series goes on, and I will see you next week. Bye.